Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to TTL F1 League One, and the third round of the season takes us to the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is the lovely Mr. James here. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing really well, Kieran. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, we've just come from a practice session, obviously. And some pretty good times we're seeing. And James, I think we're going to say we're looking at qualifying like 25s, 125s are going to be the way to go.
125s, I think a very high 125, to be honest, is the way to go. Probably a 25.8, 25.9, I'm thinking along the lines of. But in that practice session, quite a few cars were within a couple of tenths of each other. And again, I think that'll be the order of the day. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we see the whole field separated by just over a second.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a close qualifying session. That is for sure. If you missed out on last time's race, well, where on earth were you? You missed a cracker at the Spanish Grand Prix. But the top three was as follows: Calsper took the win ahead of Chapelele and Leon Bentley, who grabbed his first podium of the season, and that meant for the second time in a row this season the pole sitter then went on to win the race. Will that streak continue, or will it come to an end tonight? Last race out. Oh, go on, James, go on. No? Okay.
I'm getting cold, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. The Spanish Grand Prix driver of the day, the stick-em-up driver of the day, which is decided by drivers themselves, was Dylan Warren, and that will take us nicely onto the drivers' standings, which we have a look at them. Here they are. Calsper leads the way on 41 points, with Dylan Warren in second there on 30 points. Then it's Chapelele, Thomas, Leon Bentley there grabbed a podium last time out, which now gets him up to 5th place in the championship because Thomas was not available and was not here last time out at the Spanish Grand Prix, so he stays on his race win of 25 points. Carlsbury in 6th, Toxic 7th, Recon in 8th, Rafa in 9th, and Lighty is in 10th place. Looking down the rest of the order, it's Navy, Ashbest, Sean, Shaw, Spike, Cooper, Vitinho, King J, Cass, and Chaos. Those are your rounding off your driver standings. In terms of the constructor standings, well, it's very close at the top. Mercedes on 55 with Toro Rosso just 10 points back. Little bit of gap between them gets us to McLaren in 3rd and Williams in 4th, but they are not separated by much at all. Renault in 5th place. Haas and Red Bull share 12 points, 6th and 7th respectively. Alfa Romeo in 8th place on 9 points. Ferrari and Racing Point yet to score points this season. And as we take a look at the circuit itself, well, what a legendary circuit we have on for you today. 5.891 kilometres takes us around the hills and the countryside of Northamptonshire. A great place to go racing, and, well, believe it or not, the first ever place we went racing in Formula 1 all the way back in 1950. Racing in Formula 1 started here at Silverstone, and it's always one of the favourites on the calendar. Everybody wants to win at Silverstone, and of course the redesign takes us around the infield section now, but you still have those legendary corners, the new legendary corners of Abbey, Farm, the Loop, through Aintree, and now down the Wellington Straight, before that takes you onto Brooklands, through Luffield, through Woodcote, onto Abbey, then through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Stowe, down towards Vale, and then the Club Corner, which, well, it's a fantastic track with fantastic facilities, James, and we've got that redesign, but I think the redesign went very well.
I think the redesign has been very well for this track, and to be honest, I think we are in for a right treat in terms of the action out on track. I think turn 9, by the way, you said Abbey, it's Cops Corner through turn 9. Yeah, you messed it up. I was listening in. I was saying through Woodcote and then down towards Abbey.
No, I don't believe you. It's a new track. you cut back on yourself.
This did used to be an airfield back in World War II as well, and I think from turning this into an airfield now into a proper motor racing circuit, and of course the real life Formula 1 Grand Prix to be determined by the end of April. Tonight we should be, we're adhering to social distancing, and we are going to be seeing some good racing out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And James and I are half the country apart, just to make sure, but we are good to go here at Silverstone. And for the British Grand Prix, should be a good one. And, well, in practice, track limits were a big thing, talking point in that practice session. So I wonder how many drivers are going to be caught out by those quite strict track limits. They're looking especially on the exit of Copse. Yep, got it right this time. Through Maggotts and Beckett's, any 4 wheels over the line and your lap time is invalidated. Simple as that. On the exit of Stowe Corner as well, if you take too much curb on the outside. In fact, if you go onto the AstroTurf on the outside, you can get your lap time invalidated. And, well, what's the difference here? What's the correlation between all of those? Well, they're high-speed corners. And that is where they're going to be smacking down, clamping down on those track limits, James.
We did see quite a few drivers struggle in that practice session as well, especially Dill Warren, who struggled quite a few times through Copse Corner, through turn 9 on the exit especially. But down at Stowe, you can afford actually to not invalidate your time. And I'm not essentially throwing this out there as a cheat, but I see it every single time I cover a qualifying session around here. There's always 1 or 2 drivers that overextend the limits, but the game doesn't pick up that it's actually an invalid lap. Hopefully, nobody follows down the same path. Otherwise, I think they might be getting a slap on the wrist.
Maybe a slap on the wrist, but, well, they'll be looking to try and get every advantage they possibly can. And if they're not punished for it, James, then they'll do it. So I think it lies as simple as that. And it's up to whatever happens here as Spike getting a little bit tail happy out of the pit exit. But it is Ash Best who is first out onto the track in the Toro Rosso as he makes his way through. Oh, my game got reset, so the camera's horrible. Oh, no, this is awful. Oh, no. Right, so onboard shots are going to be limited. That's for sure. Oh, that's awful. Okay, we'll have to sort it out for next time. And maybe I could do it in qualifying, but we'll have to ride a ball with a lap first, as Spike is not waiting around on those hard tyres. He now makes his way through, and onwards now he will go through Woodcote here, and oddly taking the outside line. Normally you wouldn't want to take that with all the marbles on the outside. Here we go then through Copse Corner. And again, making sure you don't take liberties with the left-hand side. Yeah, the default camera's too far forward. I don't like it at all. Not at all. But, oh well, we'll change that eventually.
Yeah, Spike just coming through into the hangar straight now. He was let through actually by Ash down towards, I think it was at Luffield where he was let through. And the soft compound of tyres for Ash certainly going to be quite intriguing. Spike on a set of hard compound of tyres as well. So we should see a real difference in the times here. And Spike almost looks like, I don't think he attended the practice session, so might be just a bit limited. But you never know, he might set a good lap here.
Well, here we go then, speaking of a lap, making his way around the final corner and onwards now towards that start-finish line and towards the first corner at Abbey, then through Farm, high-speed corners there, and then heading in towards the first real braking zone on the circuit, in towards the loop here, as we now try and make our way through one of the slowest parts of the track. Watch the traction on the exit here as we now cut through Aintree and onwards towards the Wellington Straight, which will take us very nicely onto the next couple of corners. Braking for Brooklands here. You want to take a wide entrance to try and clip the apex on the inside of the corner as we now head through Luffield. A couple of ways you could take that corner. You can either go wide and prioritise your exit or stick close to the apex and try and follow your way through that fast right-hander of Woodcote on now towards that terrifying corner of Copse Corner. And if you overcommit here, you can really see the downside now as we make our way down towards Maggotts and Beckett. Such a legendary set of corners, these ones, as you try and break the car all the way down, slow it down as much as you can, as much as you dare, without scrubbing off too much speed as we make our way now in towards Chapel and down the hangar straight onwards towards Stowe. Plenty of undulation here as you make your way down towards Stowe Corner, and as you can see there, down to fourth momentarily for Spike as he now goes back up to fifth gear, now coming down towards Club Corner. Nice and calm through here. Take it nice and easy and try and hit your apexes here as he makes his way towards the start finish line. And for Spike, it is going to be a 128.5 for the racing point.
26.4 for Ash, going about 2 seconds quicker than Spike, and he was visibly quicker, as you can tell by the lap time. Recon going 26.6, and this is what we were on about in practice towards the end of the session, especially where the tyres will really begin to come in. It's about 5 or 6 cents in terms of practice times to qualifying times on a set of softs, and that's exactly what we're seeing currently so far.
Here comes Rafa. Whoa, loses that back end. Just a little bit too happy on the throttle there. and he's a bit of stuck in no man's land, really, as he now has to try and make his way back onto the track. And, of course, that's going to put a spanner in the works for his next lap, which, to be honest with you, I think he'll come back to the pit lane.
Yeah, I think he will come back into the pit lane, definitely with that. Gort just came across the line there just in behind him with a 29.1. It is a long and lonely lap, actually, for Rafa, being just spinning on the final corner as Thomas, 26 flat already? What?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite something, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. Can I adjust this? I can. That's good. So at least we can adjust the camera just a little bit. So let's see how this all goes down. But we're still riding aboard with a Haas here. That'll do. That's much better. Yeah, 26-0 from Thomas there. That's a little insight into the background there of what camera I run. Oh yeah, already that looks so much better, so much nicer. I mean,
I'm glad it does.
I mean, you can't see James, but you know, have a look on the stream. It looks great now.
Just seen it. Seen it. It looks lovely.
Yeah, it looks much better now. I much prefer it. Anyway, Rafa making his way now in towards the legendary S section of Maggots, Beckett's, and then on towards Chapel here. DRS wide open as we make our way down the hangar straight towards Stowe Corner. We've got a Renault at the front of this queue, but he comes in towards the pit lane. Dylan Warren actually staying out there on a hard set of tyres. 27.8 from him so far, and looking to pretty much try and rubber up the track as much as he can. Now making his way around the final corner to go again on a hot lap on a set of the hard tyres.
Salaho compound and tyres, not really the best scenario, I think, to have at the beginning of qualifying, but of course, as the track evolves, we will see the times begin to come down. I think in Dylan Warren's turn, he's on a set of hard compound of tyres, but he will inevitably go on for a set of mediums. I think he's going to play it a little bit safe, to be honest. Maybe try and pick his way through the field. If he starts around the mid-pack within the top 10, about 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm banking him on. He's 400s up in the first sector, looking good so far. But out on track, Copse Corner is his downfall. Is he going to invalidate like he did in practice? I don't think he will, though.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Traw makes his way towards the line. 31.2 he set there, but it wasn't counted for whatever reason. Sean's on hard tyres out there as he makes his way through Aintree. Lighty is just coming through Woodcote now and onwards towards Copse Corner, the old turn 1. Imagine nowadays this being turn 1, James, eh?
Imagine it now, goodness me. Obviously the cars will brake for the corner if there was the old turn 1.
There would be, that's for sure. But I'm kind of glad nowadays that the first corner isn't a sharp right-hand corner that's taken at full speed. Oh, no, wait, hang on, it still is. But anyway.
Just watching Dill on his lap. Sorry to cut across. Dill on his lap, just about to come across the line. 27.5 improved. It was a very nice, clean lap, that. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't really know. I don't think it really matters anymore. Anyway, Dylan Warren, 7th place still, 0.2 better than his previous best. It's currently Recon is out there on an outlap, currently on a set of the soft tyres and looking to put another lap time down. 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session, or just over if you're going to be picky. And we still have a few drivers here, 5 drivers who have not set lap times just yet. Toxic is one of them, Calsper as well. Cass is in the pit lane, just making his way out onto the track on a set of the soft tyres. Sean goes up to P11. He was one that didn't set a lap time, and now he has a 30.8 on a hard tyre. Traw making his way around the final corner, and a 30.4, but again, not counted.
Not counted, and I think it is just the order of the day. Many people picking up invalid laps out on track. I'm on board with Calsper, by the way. He's just coming round, as I think there's been 2 separate spins through Luffield, and Williams was round. I think that was a Toro Rosso round as well. But Calsper, in the meantime, just coming through Beckett's now. On the run to the hangar straight, this is looking like a lap that could challenge ILRT Thomas for the lead in qualifying. Chapelelli, by the way, went second, 26.3 as well.
Absolutely. Well, here comes Calsper then making his way in through Stowe Corner and now onwards through Vale and towards Club Corner now. He's taking it nice and easy through there. He hasn't got a lot of DRS that he's allowed to deploy. In fact, he's just run out of it now as he makes his way towards the line.
Oh, wow.
26.2 there from Calsper and the championship leader. At least it's front row of the grid, but he's still got just under 9 minutes to go.
Clean as you like, and I think Carlsberg will be very happy. He's only 2.5 tenths off. Toxic fights the back end through the final corner. He just lost it on the opposite lock through turn 17 at Club. Tried to get the run through the corner. He didn't. It was a 30.1, but my God, I think it could have been probably a 26.5.
It could have been, and he was showing some good pace in practice earlier on tonight, so let's see if he can make sure he can get that pace when it really matters now and in the race. So far, with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go, Thomas still leads the way. He's now just started a flying lap as he makes his way in towards the loop now. Kalsper is in second place, currently making his way back towards the pit lane. Shapalele is on a lap, making his way towards Cop's corner, using all of that curve on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, a lovely line through there. Recon, let's have a look then. What's going on with Recon? Third in the standings so far with a 26.295 in the Renault. No one yet to come towards the line. I think the next one, well, it's Shapalele, because I think Kalsper's coming back to the pit lane, so Shapalele will ride on board with him then as he makes his way around Stowe corner, flying through here. Be careful not to get too far left on the exit there. I think they've not invalidated it as he makes his way now through Club corner, onwards now towards that start finish line. And as he kept it all together, 26.1 from Shapalele, which puts him onto the front row of the grid in P2.
Very good lap that by Shapalele. He's only a 10.5 off RT Thomas, by the way, in the mini league last night, which showed tremendous amount of pace around here. Ash has just gone third as well, so the two Torossos third and fourth currently out on track. But I'm on board with Rafa, who I think might be setting the first 25 of the night as he comes around the final corner. Rafa across the line, 25.999. Wow! And Thomas goes quicker, just in behind him, 25.937. Wow!
Well, absolutely. I mean, you said it was going to be a 25. You weren't lying, James.
Just about 1,000th in there. I'll take that one. Another prediction that came right, funny enough.
Another one. Well, actually, it was quite funny because I was looking at the top right-hand corner and it said 26,000, and I was just about to say, oh, no, oh, that's so unfortunate, James. But then, no, it was a 25,999, so...
Appropriate. Anyway. I think it's appropriate as well that he set that lap time, because obviously we've had the clap for carers as well for the coronavirus. So that's quite poignant, that.
Absolutely. Thomas still, though, retains his provisional pole position for now. Let's see who else is out on track. Well, Shapalele is now coming back towards the pit lane. We have got Alfa Romeo out on track. Lighty, it's Lighty making his way through Stowe corner and onwards now towards the last part of the lap to start a new flying lap.
Has got lap time in currently 29.2 out on track, and the German will be hoping to try and provide him with a good performance here. He should be going around the Spike Gold sort of area, as I think has he lagged?
I'm not sure. It was a bit of a lag, it was a bit of a spin, but he makes his way now on towards a new flying lap. Let's just see who is on a flying lap here. I think Carlsbury's on one. He's currently on the soft tyres. Let's see what he can do then as he makes his way in towards Club corner and now on towards the start finish straight. What's this going to be? 26.5 puts him onto the fourth row of the grid in 8th place.
Very good lap that by Carlsbury, and he's only 6/10 off Thomas, and look at how tight that top 8 is. You can throw a blanket over the top 7, quite literally. 3 1/4 tenths separating the top 7. That's how tight it is at Silverstone.
Yeah, 0.357 to be exact, separating the top 7. So that is quite something as we head away towards the last 5 minutes of qualifying. Lighty currently on a 29.2. He's gone a 10th quicker, but I think he's having a little bit of lag because he's on full throttle and still in 7th gear. So that doesn't quite make sense.
Thing is connection. If he is listening in, turn off any devices, and and he goes for a bit of a spin there through the exit of Beckett. Yeah, Lighty is lagging, and I think it was a cause for concern last week as well. So just throwing that up there. Troll, by the way, was on the lap. He's invalidated.
So that's unfortunate. That's probably why he's turned down the engine and turned down the ERS mode. We've got drivers making their way out onto the track for possibly one last go at it. I mean, if you come out this early, you certainly are committing to this lap and this lap only, more so than those who pit out about 2 minutes later, because there's not enough time now to come back to the pits, get on a new set of fresh tyres if you go for a lap now.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Look, the two drivers in question are Dill Warren and Spike, and there is another car just about to come out of the pits as well, which I think might be Toxic coming out on a lap, and he's on a set of he's on a set of mediums as well. All three of these guys then out on track are on a set of medium compound tyres. I think that bet is quite relevant because obviously these are going for a bit of a different strategy. Can they find the time, however, to try and get into the top 10? You'll have to ask me at the end of their laps.
I thought you were going to say you'll have to ask me at the end of the race. Yeah, I'll ask you then. And hopefully we'll have a better idea. But anyway, he makes his way now down the hangar straight onwards towards Stowe Corners with Spike right ahead of him. We should see a very quick lap here developing. And you can see there Dylan Warren backs out of it entirely here. Let's see how it all goes down. Well, they're looking then for the alternate strategy, which I'm assuming... if you go soft to medium, pit window I think is about lap 8 to 11. If you want to start on the medium tyres and go to the soft tyres, the pit window is about lap 14 to 17. So that's what we're looking at this moment in time.
I think in terms of the mediums as well, I've seen some drivers try to pit in from about lap 12. Obviously, if they go into the set of hard compound of tyres, then it's a totally different ball game. I wish nobody goes on the set of hard compound of tyres unless they pick up damage early on, of course. Spike 3/10 up first sector.
Yep, so he makes his way now in through the fast right way. It's not quite fast, it's sort of a medium speed Luffield corner. Now going through Woodcote and onwards now towards Copse Corner. Now on soft tyres, this is a flat out corner, and you can see there Spike, a little bit of left foot braking there as he made his way towards the entrance. Kept it all in check though as he makes his way through Maggots now, in through Beckett's. And of course, this legendary set of corners have to be taken right now through Chapel. DRS wide open now as he heads down the hangar straight and onwards towards Stowe Corner. You've got plenty of time to think about Stowe and where your braking point is. Let's see here. Does Spike drop to 5th? No, not this time around. Nice and in control there as he makes his way towards the last part of the lap. Down Vale and now in towards Club Corner. Right-handers to go now towards the checkered flag, or at least the start-finish line, I should say. And Spike 27.0 there is onto the 5th row of the grid on the bubble in 10th place. And Dylan Warren instantly beats him to it. P9 for Dylan Warren, 26.6.
Yeah, I was watching Dill throughout the last part of that lap there, and he was looking very quick, I've got to say. And a 26.6, I think, really defines him on a set of medium compound tyres. Whether or not he will end up in the top 10 still remains to be seen. And Spike as well, 27 flat out on track. Only 400s off Cass, which is quite interesting, but Cass might improve on a fresh set of softs.
Here's Toxic coming towards the line, and it was invalidated lap, and that would have been 2 seconds quicker than what he's already set. Apparently so.
27.3.
Yeah, so that was quite a lap there that he was on. However, it was an invalidated one as he now pulls to the side. He hasn't got enough time. Yeah, he hasn't got enough time to make his way round to have another go at it. So I think he did run very wide at the last corner. That might have been why, but in any case, yeah, that could have been a really good lap time. In the meantime then, we've got not long to go in this session. In fact, just over 20 seconds to go. Currently, Thomas is on provisional pole position with Rafa right behind him on a 25.999. Ash Best then in 4th place right now, making his way through turn 1 and turn 2, onwards now towards the infield section as we head towards the loop eventually. Navy P5 currently on an out lap apparently, but I'm not quite sure I believe that one. Calspur in 6th place at the moment, 900s quicker through the first sector for him. But Thomas, I believe, there's a Williams heading towards the line. That could be the Gore, and it is, who now pits in from that position, so he'll go no higher than P13. Checkered flag is out then. Dylan Warren has taken the checkered flag. The Gort now retires from the session. Thomas here making his way now down towards this last section here. He might have run a little bit too wide
this time.
And let's see if that is confirmed as he heads towards the line. Yeah, went slower anyway.
Rafa's
there.
quicker.
Rafa is quicker.
Rafa's a 10th up.
10th up now as we see cars coming across the line. We've got a Renault there. Well, I can't tell which one it is, Navy or Recon. And in the end it was Navy. And Rafa goes top then, 25.8 from the Haas car. Can anybody get close to that one? Troy, we got coming towards the line. He's up now to P11. How about Kalsper towards the line? Second row of the grid for him in third place. Recon comes across the line. He goes now up to P4. Ash Best coming around the final corner, and he's slower by half a tenth there, and he will start from P6. We've got Chapalele, currently P5, as he makes his way around the final corner, and towards the start finish line, P3 from the Williams there, as he gets onto the second row of the grid. But that looks like that is qualifying done and dusted, and pole sitter for the first time this season. And can he keep that streak going? Rafa takes his first pole position of the season.
Fantastic lap by Rafa, and just really to bear in mind what qualifying has been like here. Top 10, Dill Warren sneaking in on the set of mediums for 10th. Top 10 separated by just over 8/10 of a second. That's how tight it is. And my prediction of the whole field separated by a second, let's just dwell over that one.
Yeah, let's just gloss over that one. We got most of it right. Well, James did anyway, so that's good enough. But there is your pole sitter in a bit of a spin, but he is the pole sitter for the British Grand Prix. Rafa is on that prime spot, and can he be the third person in a row this season to take the win from pole position? But there are your qualifying results. Rafa at the top with Thomas in second place, 900ths of a second. That's all that was in it for pole position. Chapalele in third with Kalsper in fourth. Recon fifth with Ash Best in sixth. Navy seventh with Carlsbury eighth. Cass in ninth, and Dylan Warren rounds out the top 10, meaning he will start on those medium tyres. Trott in 11th, Spike in 12th, Lighty 13th, Toxic 14th, The Gort in 15th, and Sean there in 16th place. Interesting then. So Dylan Warren then, the only one out of the top 10 to start on a set of the medium tyres.
Not a bad strategy to be on, in fact, either. And if he picks up a couple of positions early on, I think, with Dill, he's got Cass and I think Colsbury ahead of him. Immediately, if he gets past those two, I could probably see him get into the top 5. The mediums will last to around the halfway stage. They'll pit in probably around lap 14, I'm thinking, out on track. And obviously, he's got to go then, whenever, onto a set of soft compound of tyres. Because if he goes onto the hard compound of tyres, I think he'll struggle.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. Obviously, James, there's a reason why we're up in the commentary box and they're all out on track. But in terms of the race strategy, if you're going from soft to medium, then it's going to be lap 8 to 11. And if you're going from medium to hard, it's going to be medium to soft. There we go. Got it in the end. You're going to be looking at lap 14 to 17 to pit in for a new set of tyres. If anybody starts on the hard sets of tyres, I have no clue how long they can last. But I assume they could last 20 plus laps, but really stretching it at that point.
Hards will probably last around 20 laps, I think, to be honest. And hards to softs obviously might be the quicker strategy towards the end of the race, but it is quite costly time-wise in the early part of the race, especially being on a set of hard compound tyres. Has anybody decided to go down that route? No. It's a simple answer.
I think that's the right idea. I mean, you lose too much time if you're on the hard tyres. It's why we never saw those beautiful blue wall tyres back in the day around this track. They just simply were not liked. So I can understand that. Hard tyres around here, or the hardest compound around Silverstone, never really has been a good option, because whilst there are middle speed corners, you've got long straights, and at that point tyres definitely do cool down. You may still be doing 300 kilometers an hour at some points on this track down a straight, but it's odd because the tyres do cool down those straights.
They do cool down, and I think it is going to be a telling factor within this race. And looking at the strategies that everyone is on, of course, the top 10 qualifying on that set of tyres that they have been on. And the medium compound of tyres, obviously, for Dill Warren is interesting. He has got drivers behind him, however, that are on fresher compound of tyres than him. So Troll, Toxic, Gort and Sean on the medium compound of tyres, Spike and Lighty on the softs. What Spike and Lighty have got to do at this stage is try and pull out a gap early to the guys in behind and essentially try and pick up as many positions as possible in the early stages. What the medium runners have got to do, defend for their lives, then come into play just around the halfway stage.
Yeah, and they'll be looking to see who's behind them on the soft tyre. Troy especially on a fresh set of the medium tyres will be looking closely at Spike and his own teammate Lighty, with Toxic, Gort and Sean all there on the medium tyres. And Toxic for me, P14 at the moment. He was saying again he wants to get P5 or at least top 5 in this race, starting down in P14. He had good pace in practice, so let's see how it turns out for him in the race. Qualifying is only a quarter of the story, I always say. The rest of it is made up in the race, and the last remaining 1% is decided in the stewards room. So the majority of it is decided here on track in the race. But as Rafa makes his way on towards the grid now, Thomas there in second place. He'll be looking to try and make it win number 2 this season. Shapalele in third. Carlsberg, championship leader there in fourth place on the grid. And of course the inside line is always a vulnerable line in towards turn 1. But we are moments away here from the British Grand Prix here in TTL F1 League 1, and we await those red lights to start coming on and signalling that we are so close to the start of this race. And here they are as they come on for the British Grand Prix. It is 5 red lights. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It looks like it's a decent start from Rafa. It looks like it's a good start from Thomas as well. Look at Shapalele going round the outside of turn 1. Thomas is around. Carlsberg's around as well as they make their way through. Disaster start there for most of those drivers at the front. In fact, it was Thomas and Carlsberg. Everybody else managed to make it through there somehow. Ash Best up now to third place as everybody else makes it through cleanly through the first set of corners. And Thomas and Carlsberg, 2 championship rivals, take each other out.
Unbelievable. And to be honest, I think Shapalele just got his line wrong, which caused the Constantine in behind, and Carlsberg unfortunately had nowhere to go. Crosby, by the way, has just gone around the outside of Navy through Luffield. Good move, and cast down the inside on Recon as well, who was under pressure from Dill Warren, who was up to 8th place already, and Toxic right on the back of Troll. 2x2 like Noah's Ark they go.
Spike going up the inside of Dylan Warren. Warren gives him the space, fair play to him, but now Spike will have the drive then in towards Maggots, and Beckett's still going side by side through there. Spike, does he have the corner? Yes, he does, and Carlsbury's around there. In the infield section, Carlsbury's lost it on his own, it looked like there, and he's now all the way down the order and covered there by yellow flags. But Rafa still leads the way. Spike now having to defend from Dylan Warren, who wants to try and go round the outside of Stowe here, but no way through this time around, as Spike does well to defend. And Toxic will be looking here. Up to 9th place is Toxic. Managed to keep his head down. What a great start from him as Rafa crosses the line then. So at the end of the first lap, Rafa leads from Shapalele. Best is in 3rd with Navy 4th. Cass in 5th. Recon 6th. Spike 7th. Warren in 8th. Toxic 9th. Straw rounding out the top 10. Then it's Lighty, Sean, Thomas, Carlsberg and Carlsbury. And the Gore.
Toxic, Gore just into the pits there. Toxic right on the back of Dill Warren as we come through the loop section. He looked to try and either move up through Farm and Abbey through turns 1 and 2, but didn't quite have to run through. And everyone now in a little bit of a rut, to be honest, because the DRS hasn't been enabled yet. Once the DRS gets enabled, as Thomas has gone down the inside of Sean and making up tremendous progress through the field already. He's up in position, passing Sean. Carlsberg going to be running on his lonesome, but Thomas through up to P12. And what Thomas has got to do, he's got to outpace everyone around him, I think, out on track. That's what he's got to do now to try and get back into this.
Yeah, and he's just got to keep pushing on and make that strategy work as best it possibly can. Shapalele here as we head through Maggots and through Beckett's is right on the tail of Rafa here as we head our way down the hangar straight. And Shapalele will be looking for that slipstream. Of course, DRS not online just yet as we make our way now down towards Stowe Corner, and Rafa stays ahead for now. Let's have a look at some of those battles behind him as well. Dylan Warren there in 8th place with Toxic in 9th. They've both had great starts to this race, so fair play to them. If we can see, well, I didn't want to see fastest lap. Which one did I want to see? There we go. Position changes. There you go. Shapalele now goes quickest. Biggest winner in all of that. Looks like it's tied between Spike and Toxic, both up 5 positions from their starting place. Thomas down 10 is the biggest loser, but of course he was facing the wrong way at turn 1.
Yeah, and it's a shame really that the contact was made, but what the drivers have got to do now is really put the hammer down and ensure that they deliver a good performance out on track. Cass is running on the back of Navy, running down towards Brooklands for the 3rd time out on track. DRS now enabled, but Cass nowhere near down on the inside. Recon to try and throw the eye on the needle. We've got Thomas and Lighty going side by side. The Mercedes man puts the car up the inside. He was always going to have the run, and Thomas Thune up to 11th. Another position gained. He's making good progress as Toxic just makes a little mistake out of Luffield.
Recon still on the rear wing of Cass then as we fly through Copse Corner for the third time this race. And that's going to be an interesting battle for the lead of the race as well between Rafa and Shapalele as we make our way through Maggots and Beckett's. Remember, these tyres are lasting around about 8 to 11 laps. So we'll have to wait and see how they all go and how they fare in these tough and challenging conditions here at Silverstone. Meanwhile, Cass moving to the left-hand side with some DRS, trying to go around the outside of Navy. Recon tries to see an opening here up the inside as we make our way through Vale and now towards Club Corner. Recon around the outside as he in towards the entrance. Now he's got the inside line in through Club Corner, but Cass is not going to give up there. Round the outside through the final corner, and they're still going to be side by side as we head towards Abbey here, the racing point of Spike trying to get involved. Cass around the outside of turn 1, has the inside for turn 2, and now in towards turn 3. The Renault of Recon still has the inside line here. Now Cass, it switches back, but he now has to back out of it to try and get a better exit, but running side by side through 4, 5, 6 corners. Great stuff.
Shapalele, I thought he was going to go down the inside there on Rafa for the lead of the race. He doesn't. The gap was there to try and thread the other needle, but what a battle that is. As Spike tries to get up the inside as well. Thomas has gone through on Troll. He's round the outside, actually, Spike through Luffield. Can he get the traction of the corner? The PMP man who drove very well in Mini League 1 last night against TTG. Spike, the side-by-side, running down towards the old turn 1. Favour the inside line here. Cass comes across. Spike to the inside line to try and get the move done, but never going to get past that one. And all of that has brought Dil Warren into play as Cass loses control of the car out of Copse.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for him at all. Meanwhile, Troy is round just at the exit of Copse Corner, and Troy has retired, so it becomes our first retirement here at the British Grand Prix. Shapalele going down the inside at Stowe Corner, up the inside of Rafa here, but look at that, Rafa able to hold on, and now Carlsbury's out at the S section. Yeah, Beckett's. So Carlsbury out of the British Grand Prix. 2 retirements now. The Gort will take those 2 easy positions to go up to P14. In all that drama, he pitted in. He must have had damage. He's now onto the hard tyres and will try to get those tyres to the end of the race.
Highly doubt they'll get to the end, to be honest. And I think the hard compounder tyres can only last about 18 or 19 laps on a set of hards before the driver has to pit in. So essentially what Gort's got to do is try and set the fastest lap of the race, I think. And to be honest, he could do that towards the early stage, towards the late stage of the race. Shapalele right on the back of Rafa, not going to find a way through. But we've got a whole train pretty much leading back from Recon all the way down to Thomas.
Toxic up the inside, going in towards that section there. As we head in towards Loffield, and Thomas now trying to go up the inside. Cass will have the exit and the traction coming in towards Woodcote here, but Thomas is not going to give up on this one. He's going to try and go side by side through Copse Corner. Surely not through here. Down the inside he goes and takes that position away. And Thomas there proved that he has the guts to get the glory.
It's like Mini League all over again between these two. They had a very good battle last night, and Thomas has got Cass once again. ILRT against PMP, of course. Shapalele, by the way, down the inside of Stoll for the lead of the race. Rafa trying to go around the outside, and Shapalele's got it. Shapalele gets the lead of the race, but these two beginning to battle. Look who is on the back. It's Ash Best.
Ash Best looking to try and take advantage here of the top 2 battling away. Lap 6 of this Grand Prix. 21 laps to go here at the British Grand Prix. Shapalele still leads here as we head through the first couple of corners ahead of Rafa, the pole sitter. Ash Best there now in 3rd place. Spike here is right on the back of Navy as we make our way in towards turn 3, but no way to see a move down the inside. But he's just trying to size up the opportunity here for the racing, for the Renault ahead, I should say, to size them up in that DRS zone. It's a relatively short DRS zone though, so Navy's actually built up the gap down the back straight there as Shapalele goes purple through Sector 1.
Shapalele purple through Sector 1, and I think he is beginning to excel on the tyres. You can just see actually a little bit of degradation right on board with Rafa. The left front tyre, there was a little line, black line going through the middle of the tyre. That indicates that the tyre's beginning to blister out on track. So it's not too long until we see the softs pit in. And to be honest, I would see the first pit stops happening around this lap or so.
I would give it 2 more laps, in all honesty. They've got to try and get it to that window of lap 8 to 11. Otherwise, they'll struggle to get those medium tyres to the end in good nick. Meanwhile, Toxic has got close company. He's in a bit of a Mercedes sandwich. Dylan Warren's ahead of him, but Thomas, the hard-charging Thomas, is looking to try and get a win here. Spike is trying to go up the inside of one of the Renaults here of Navy in towards Stowe corner, and he has the move done. Dylan Warren, meanwhile, will look to try and take advantage as the lead medium tyre runner right now. He's not lost a lot of time, but he's got to remember that the soft tyres at the end of the race will degrade much quicker than the tyre he's on right now, so he has to take that with a pinch of salt as we head towards the end. Dylan Warren eyeing up a move in towards turn 1, but then wisely backed away from it. As look at this, he's got to run now in towards turn 3, up the inside he will go on the inside of the Renault. The Renault then has the inside heading in towards turn 3, but you can see here Warren will try a little bit of a switchback through turn 4 now as we head through Aintree and onwards now towards the Wellington Straight. And on towards the next corner at Brooklands here, having looked behind the Red Bull, not fancying his chances either. But Navy here is struggling for grip now as we make our way in towards Luffield. And again, a good exit here could lead you onto the back of the next car, going in towards Stowe, in towards Copse Corner, I should say. Stowe, of course you can, down that long DRS straight. It's one of the longest straights. In fact, it is the longest straight now at the British Grand Prix. And with a bit of DRS, you can really try and take full advantage. You can see that Mercedes is all over the back of the Red Bull. Just looking in the mirrors there on the right hand side, you can see how close he is. Now as we head down the Hangar Straight, you can see Navy has DRS but still feels the need to defend. Here's Warren then in the slipstream with those medium tyres. Watch out for Thomas as well as he looks to try and make his way through, but they hold formation as they make their way through Stowe Corner as the clouds start to gather over the Silverstone circuit.
It's like a slithering snake out on track, I think is the best thing to describe it as. Thomas right on the back of Toxic and Toxic right on the back of Dylan Warren. But they're stuck in a bit of a rut. That we talk about it in other races, the DRS train out on track. Spike has just about got clear now of Navy, but Navy is holding these three guys and behind. Oh, Dylan Warren, Toxic and Thomas. They're all stuck in a DRS train. Thomas trying to lunge it down the inside into the loop. Not going to go for the move on Toxic. And again, these two had a good, pretty hard battle actually last night in the mini league. So Thomas and Toxic about to do battle again. Is it going to be close enough to the inside of Brooklands? No. Still as they are.
Yeah, as they are right now, and it will just take a little bit of battling, a little bit of wits about you to try and make your way through this field right now. And of course, the more time Thomas spends behind this queue, the longer it's going to take to get his way through, and the more time he has to spend trying to sort of reap some points eventually. Toxic getting a little bit onto the curb on the exit of Copse Corner, and you can see that Thomas actually went down a gear for a second there in towards 7th because he lost too much speed, but he now head away through Maggots and Beckett's. Now on board with Dylan Warren. Again, he puts the ERS deployment up to 4, up to overtake mode. Is it enough to try and make a move here? Now down towards the inside, tries a little bit of a dummy here. Navy tries to leave the door open and does, but Dylan Warren can't take full advantage. Tries a little bit of a switchback in towards the braking zone here, in through Club Corner, but still no way through. Spike here just trying to get away as much as he can. Meanwhile, Cass enters the slowest pit lane on the calendar. You lose so much time through here, and that's why the one stop is really the only viable strategy.
It is the only viable strategy, and Cass, interestingly, is the first to pit in. Apart from Gort with the damage, he's the first to pit in on the set of soft compound of tyres. So we've got to lap 8. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, and Sean is round through turn 1 at Abbey and Farm. That's halfway through between turns 1 and 2. Toxic right on the back of Dill Warren. Ash is right on the back of Rafa as well. That has spawned up from absolutely nowhere out on track. But it comes to show that Chapelelli is getting away out in front. 1.2 seconds as they come towards Copse. Rafa second, Ash in third. I've got to be honest, I'm favouring Ash at this point to try and get past Rafa, then to try and put the speed in, but I have a feeling they'll be into the pits this lap.
Well, Toxic, meanwhile, again, under big pressure from Thomas then as they make their way through Stowe Corner. And once again, Toxic might have a little bit of a run here on Dylan Warren. Navy this time might turn defence into attack. Oh, he's run into the back of Spike there, going through those high-speed corners, and he has damage on that left-hand side. Well, now he has to go down the back straight here, lap 9. I wonder if he'll just call into the pit early here. And Rafa picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Now Navy wants to try and get into the pit lane here. That was always going to end in tears there, unless he was onto the right-hand side. But because he understeered all the way through Stowe Corner, he then tried to go out onto the right-hand side. I'm afraid that's just the nature of the circuit there. And he got his way into the pit lane eventually.
Yeah, his line through Stowe really compromised him, actually, and we saw Warren and Toxic go through on him on the inside, so that is why Navy, these drivers, Dylan and Toxic, not putting any punches towards the rivals out on track, and Navy obviously with that damage now into the pit. Recon now out in front, the leaders have pitted, so Rafa is actually out ahead of Schiaparelli by quite a comfortable margin, by 1.5 seconds, I think, and Ash is right up behind Schiaparelli, so it's pretty much as they were. But now Schiaparelli and Ash have got Sean in their way. Essentially, they've put a wingman, Rafa has put his wingman right there to try and defend off Schiaparelli and Ash.
Well, it's worked out perfectly, isn't it? Because Sean, without that spin, would be ahead of Rafa. So that spin has worked in their favour in the end. I'm sure it's not the way Sean would have wanted it to work out, but anyway, he now becomes the rear gunner. As you say, a Spike now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Rafa will have to take full advantage of Sean right behind him. Meanwhile, Dylan Warren right on the back of Spike with some DRS, goes to the left-hand side, was going to dummy to the right. Now he decides to go around the outside at Stowe Corner, and Spike just simply doesn't have the grip to keep fighting there. Dylan Warren moves up to second place.
Not into the pits either, Spike. Toxic trying to go down the inside of him. Forces Spike a little bit wide there, just with the nature of the late braking. Schiaparelli about to get past Sean as well, down the straight, down the inside onto Stowe. And is Ash going to follow through as well? Oh, a little bit of contact actually between Sean and Ash. But Ash is up the inside through Stowe. Good move there, and he's up to 8th. So they've disposed of the wingman within a lap.
Yeah, and that was important for Ash Best. Important for him to get through.
Toxic down the inside of Spike. Sorry to cut in. Toxic down the inside of Spike, forces his way through the loop section at turn 4, gets the move done. Easy as you like that one.
Yeah, and Toxic knew he had to get his way past because those soft tyres for Spike are fading into the last lap of the expected pit window. Thomas, meanwhile, is in 9th place, looking to try and chase down the drivers ahead as Recon there makes an overcut work. I wonder if Thomas had some sort of front wing change
damage.
Some sort of damage there that's cost him that much time. It didn't look like he had that much damage, in all honesty, with the pace that he had.
I can only think he's probably picked it up in that battle where Toxic and the likes were in front of him out on track. Maybe just a little bit slower, the car in front, and that's why I think it might have been left side end plate damage as well. Very similar to what we saw with Navy. So he's out of the pits. He's in 9th now. That has really put his race on the ropes. But if anybody can do it, Thomas can do it, because he was very quick last night in the mini-league.
Let's see what he can do then. Meanwhile, Dylan Warren, yet to pit, still leads the way as Spike still stays out for yet another
He's gone
lap.
for mediums. He'll be going mediums. He'll be going as much as possible on these set of softs to try and get the medium compound of tyres, because he's still within the range of getting the hards to work out on track. But I think the mediums definitely going to be his port of call. He's got 16 seconds behind to Rafa, so it can work.
It can work. The only problem is that as Rafa sets the fast lap, quickly followed by Schiaparelli, he's on the soft tyres. The strategy is already to go onto the mediums, so I'm not sure if extending the stint here is going to be the best way forward, unless Rafa starts battling with Schiaparelli behind, and in that case, that could work. But he might find, Spike, that the time difference between himself and Rafa just shortens down. If he's not careful, Spike, he could rejoin outside of the points.
He will. I think he's going to rejoin around Cass Lighty sort of area if he does come into the pits. It's 34.4 seconds to Lighty. I think the pit stops around here are 32 seconds, so bear that in mind. It should be around 32 by the end of this lap if he decides to come into the pits. So Spike will be out, I think, behind Cass, but just ahead of Lighty when he comes into the pits. And Rafa has already gained a second this lap.
Here's Toxic then moving to the left-hand side with DRS down the hanger straight and in towards Stowe Corner, and Warren doesn't even bother trying to defend that one. Toxic now moves into the lead of the British Grand Prix, and eventually the Racing Point of Spike in the background comes into the pits then to put on a brand new set of medium tyres. Meanwhile, Recon there moving to the left-hand side and getting past Sean, and that was easily as you like with the DRS there as he moves now up to 7th place. Ash Best then has got Schiaparelli in his sights Now Spike then in the pit lane, in the longest pit lane, the slowest pit lane possible, 37 miles per hour, that's 60 kph, as he now makes his way out of the pit lane there and back out onto track. And again, it just takes forever down that long pit lane. We'll have to see where exactly he rejoins. Thomas will go through, so too will Calsper. How about Cass? I wonder. He's emerging from the pit lane now.
In between Calsper and Cass.
So there you go then. Top 10 at the moment. And now onto the medium tyres. Well, he's obviously on the youngest set of medium tyres on track. So let's see if he can make that advantage work now.
He could, but I think he's got some quite quick drivers around him. Calsper ahead by about 1.2 seconds. Cass is on the back of him. Obviously, he's got warmer tyres at this stage, and having warmer tyres at this stage in the race is crucial for Cass to try and get the move done. And the Dane from the PMP team currently in 11th place. But Dill right on the back of Toxic to the outside line. Toxic just lets him have that one. Dill around the outside line, gets the move done. He's back into the lead of the race. The yo-yo effect happening here in Silverstone.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be important that they don't really cost each other too much time. They both know that it's not a battle worth getting into at this point in the race, and if they are going to use that DRS there, you might as well just let the other car through. What are you seeing out there, James?
Oh, Schiaparelli having a very dodgy line coming through still. Took the wide out exit and pretty much got onto the AstroTurf as soon as he exited the corner. Ash is now within 3.5 tenths. As soon as I say that, it's now up to about 4 tenths of a second. But he's looking good out on track. I think Ash has got the pace over Schiaparelli. If Schiaparelli can then drag Ash into the race with him, we could have a good three-way battle for the lead.
We could do, and Rafa here is 14 seconds behind Toxic at the moment. So he is in the net lead of this race, but he's just got to try and drive as quickly as possible away from Schiaparelli and away from Ash Best. They've also got Recon in the distance they've got to worry about. If they battle too hard, he'll come straight into this battle.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds is the gap between 3rd, 4th and 5th at this stage as well. And that, I think, is beginning to come down. I think Schiaparelli, looking like the quicker driver, it was 2 tenths of a second lost for Rafa that last lap around. Schiaparelli beginning to come into him, but Ash and Schiaparelli now might begin to battle. But Rafa, a second clear, he's got a bit of a buffer, but I don't think he's got too much of a buffer.
Have to see how the buffer really favours them in this race as we're past half race distance. As Warren and Toxic come into the pits, do they leave their braking late enough or early enough? Yes, they do. They both come into the pits with no issues. Rafa, Schiaparelli and Ash Best will then inherit the top 3 positions, but it'll be interesting to see where Warren and Toxic rejoin onto a set of these soft tyres. Remember, Warren qualified in P10, started on those medium tyres. The Red Bull, of course, emerges behind the Mercedes. There go the top 3 all the way through. Rafa leading the way from Schiaparelli and Ash Best. Let's see what happens then. Recon will go through. Thomas will go through.
Ahead of Calsper.
Yeah, ahead of Calsper, says James. Well, let's have a see what happens here. Dylan Warren getting in towards the pit exit. There goes Calsper then. Does he make his way through? Yes, he does. So they rejoin behind Calsper. Toxic, meanwhile, rejoins just behind Spike. So Spike is going to be under immense pressure from a driver on the soft tyres.
Remember, these softs have got to last 11 laps as well out on track, so Toxic and Dill Warren's tyres will be shot by the end of this race. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a puncture by the end. Toxic, though, lining up on Spike. Maybe one of the easiest moves you might see all night down towards Brooklands. Toxic on the pace, on the power, has got the move done. Spike will not defend this one. Toxic stays up to 8th. But battle for the lead now a second between the top 3.
Yeah, 1 second, just over 1 second between the leaders of the race here, Rafa, Schiaparelli and Ash Best, as we make our way through in towards the DRS zone. Schiaparelli is just trying to draw in Rafa bit by bit down the straight, and Ash Best then, even with that DRS hitting just over 200 miles per hour as we head in towards Stowe Corner. Down we go then towards Club Corner. Meanwhile, Dylan Warren looks for a move on Calsper. Then the championship leader might lose another place here in towards Stowe Corner, and Dylan Warren there with the soft tyres moves now up to 6th place.
I think Calsper, though, given that he had that contact with Thomas earlier on in the race on lap 1, he's doing a fantastic job to be in 7th position. He's got Toxic behind. If Toxic disposes of him quite early, he's going to be in and around Spike. So that could be a good battle, actually, between Calsper and Spike towards the end of the race. Ash trying to gain on Schiaparelli, but watch the straight line speed down the straight. Sean is out of the race, and he's gone straight on at Stowe. That must have been a failure of some sort.
That has to be, yeah, definitely. So, unfortunate for Sean, then he becomes the third retirement of the British Grand Prix, and if it is a wheel failure of sorts, that's going to be even more frustrating.
It's not going to be great on the mental side as well for him. He was running just outside of the points. He just put it on a set of soft compound of tyres. Navy has gone through, by the way, on light T as well. Oh, and it's PG-18. That's all I'm going to say there with that one, Ash. Right on the back of Schiaparelli. I think we're going to get an overtake for the lead here.
We might do. Down the hammer straight then. As Ash Best, look at this actually. Could be a move for second place instead. Looking down the inside in towards Stowe corner. Goes for it up the inside. Can he try and hold on? No. Schiaparelli just about holds on the outside. Ash Best now moves to the left to try and break down the inside. But he's got to watch out. The Williams will have the inside line for the next corner. And there's just no way through for Best there. Schiaparelli holds on to second place. But look at that. Schiaparelli now in trying to defend. Rafa's now over a second ahead of the pair of them now. So Ash Best will be trying to battle away with Schiaparelli as much as possible, so only he has the DRS, heading down both straights. That could work out a treat as they make their way in through the loop. Now on towards Aintree. Rafa will try and drive away as best as he possibly can. Schiaparelli, no DRS. Ash Best here knows this is an opportunity to go down the inside here at Brooklands on the left-hand side. Down the inside he goes. He might be on the outside here at Woodcote. Or at Luffield, my apologies. He's still on the outside there. Does he get the traction? No, Schiaparelli just able to hold on down the inside. Well, now, really, there's one more place Ash Best can try and make the move. And that is, of course, at Stowe corner with a longer DRS straight. Schiaparelli runs onto the grass, runs a little bit wide. That's going to compromise his entry in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Not the place he wanted to do it. Meanwhile, Calsper and Toxic going side by side, then in towards Cop's corner. And eventually Toxic has to back out of it. Wise to not go too wide. Rejoining with Schiaparelli and Ash Best as we make our way down Stowe. Or towards Stowe corner, I should say. Ash Best this time up the inside of the Williams. Has he got him this time? Yes, Schiaparelli slightly taps the back of the Toro Rosso there as we make our way now in towards the next series of corners, in through Club Corner. This time, though, the Toro Rosso has the inside line, shuts the door, and Schiaparelli's around! Schiaparelli around at the penultimate corner. Now goes through the last corner. He's got to get that back in gear and rejoin the track now, losing lots of positions. Thomas now is up to P4. And that's an incredible drive from him so far. Schiaparelli will try and defend from Toxic Willie in towards turn one. Oh, Toxic's around the outside. I think there was a little bit of lag there as he's collected by Casper there. And he has lost a bit of front wing there. I think there was a bit of lag there, to be honest with you. Yeah. I didn't quite see them make contact.
I didn't see them make contact. I think there might have been a desync possibly out on track between them both. It's unfortunate for Schiaparelli. He drove well, but he just attacked the outside curb coming through the final corner just that little bit too much through turn 17 at Club. Just attacked it a bit too much, and that is why we have seen him now down in 12th position. It was unfortunate, I think, with the contact as well. Calsper pulled up in the wrong place at the wrong time. But now what that does is spread the field out like a washing line. Lighty right on the back of Navy, by the way, through Luffield.
Absolutely. That's the battle for the last point of this race at this moment in time. Lap 18 of 26, soon to be lap 19. And we will have 8 laps to go in this race once we cross the line again. And Navy is trying to hold on against Lighty, both on the medium tyres, both on the same age of medium tyres as well. But Navy's lost the back end! Oh, Navy's lost it, gone around, and Lighty manages to find his way through, and the back end of Navy's car said, "You're having a laugh," and just let go on him.
Nearly rejoined in front of Schiaparelli as well. That could have just added a lot more woe to Schiaparelli, but luckily all fine. Navy just losing the back end. Very similar, I think, to Carlsbury when he went out the race. Through Beckett, but this time was on the alternate side of the track. So that's where I think Cosby went out. Schiaparelli, by the way, into the pits. He could, and that, I think, is going to be a retirement for him.
Yeah, it is. So Schiaparelli becomes the 4th retirement of this race, as the Gort will now move up to 12th place. And the Gort here is probably thinking, well, you know what? There could be points on the card here.
Yeah, he's keeping on at it, to be honest. Keep calm and carry on for the GOAT out on track. He is 18 seconds off Navy currently at this stage in the race, but on a set of hard competitive tyres, he could go for fastest lap, try and pick up the extra point, and try and nick it off Toxic, who's currently got it with a 28.6. And funny enough, actually, he's the only driver in the 28 out on track. There was a yellow flag in Sector 1, and that was for Schiaparelli's AI car coming out of the pits. Good battle, though, possibly developing for 5th and 6th. Dill Warren and Toxic, both on same strategies, both evenly paced. This should be a very good one.
Should be.
And Toxic wants a P5 as well.
Just to correct you there, James, that if anybody gets the fast lap outside of the top 10, no point is scored. You have to be in the top 10 to get that point on your side. Toxic, meanwhile, as you say, trying to close in on Dylan Warren as they make their way through the last couple of corners. But with 7 laps to go, it looks like the streak's going to continue here.
I think the streak is going to continue out on track, and Rafa 2.4 seconds clear. He is now pulled away from Ash. Ash in a bit of no man's land, and to be honest, a majority of the drivers in a bit of no man's land currently out on track. Spike is catching Kalspur as a result of that right side end plate damage he's got, and you can see through Farm and Abbey how much he was struggling through the corner, and the Brit now getting closed down by his fellow countrymen. Till Warren and Toxic at battle, but a real shout out to Thomas. Contact turn 1 was pretty much last, and now in 4th. I'll leave it there.
I mean, that's not bad, is it? When you say it like that, not bad whatsoever. Toxic, meanwhile,
he's catching Recon as well.
Yeah, he is catching Recon. Toxic as well, who wanted a top 5 finish today, got 6th last time round in Spain, and he's in 6th right now. He'll want this top 5 for sure.
He will, and he's saving up the ERS, I think, to try and deploy that on Dill. Dill has got about 13% less ERS compared to Toxic at this stage in the race, and Toxic right on the back of Dill Warren. Spike as well going to be on the back of Kalspur, I think, down towards Stowe. This could be, again, one of the easiest moves you might see all night if he's got the speed in that racing point. Can Spike try and pull off the move then on Kalspur as he runs down towards Stowe? Don't think he will. Toxic, I think, made a bit of a mistake coming out of Stowe, because he's just lost about 0.2 of a second there.
Yeah, he's dropped back a little bit, but of course, time is on his side for now. And of course, you've got to try and time it that you leave a move as late as possible so that the driver behind you doesn't benefit from your slipstream, doesn't benefit from the DRS they'll get on you. So it's all about tactics coming into the last few laps of this race. 5 laps to go, or is it 6 laps? It's 6 laps to go, 5 and a bit if you're picking.
Yeah, 6 laps to go, and Spike all over the back of Kalspur. Toxic and Dill Warren again is still going to be that interesting battle. Thomas not really gaining that much now on Recon out on track. And by the way, just to clarify on a comment that came up earlier in the comment section as well, Spike saying, "Welcome to Understeer City. Enjoy your stay, Spike." To be honest, he's enjoying his stay, and he's in 8th, and he's right on the back of Kalspur, the championship leader.
Absolutely, as he's looking to try and find a way past the Toro Rosso. We'll head towards Stowe here, and he might get a little bit more understeer because he's right on the back of Kalspur. Might get a little bit of dirty air. Not afraid at all there. Look how much speed he carried through Copse Corner there. Really did close up on the back of Kalspur, but at the moment he's had to back out there as Toxic as well, trying to get away past, but actually lifting off.
These two are in the same party, I think. They're probably telling each other what to do.
Here's Spike then moving to the left-hand side, trying to find a way around the outside at Stowe Corner, trying to hang on in there. A little bit of contact between them, but Spike gets the way through, and Kalspur moves down to 8th place. Spike up to 7th with Toxic looking right on Dylan Warren's tail.
Yeah, just to speak about that contact between Spike and Kalspur. Kalspur just through the camera of the corner with that front wing damage. Right-hand side end plate damage through a right-handed corner will always drift the car out to the left-hand side, and that's what we saw there. Spike inevitably was going to get the move done. He had the traction around the outside. He got the move done. Toxic on the back of Dill Warren. This is a flying move down the inside. Oh, Dill just moving across him slightly. The Red Bull man up the inside of the Mercedes. This is great action towards Luffield, but pretty much forced out wide there. Like a rocket launch nearly taking off there, Cape Canaveral, but Toxic right on the back of Dill Warren. Not going to get the move done here, and he's going to stay in behind.
Well, Toxic, you saw there, tried to take a much deeper line to prioritise his exit out of Luffield, which worked. He was right on the back of Warren here, and he's done it again. He's prioritising his exit out of these corners as the clouds really have gathered over the circuit here in Northamptonshire, and Toxic gets a little bit wayward out of Beckett's there, and unfortunately that's going to mean that the DRS might not have been as powerful as it could have been down the Hanger Straight as we make our way in towards Stowe Corner, and he at least has got that sort of gap that it was formed from that mistake back down.
Yeah, Gort, by the way, just coming out of the pit lane. He has pitted for a set of soft compound tyres as well. Calsper is still sticking with Spike, which is quite interesting considering he's got right side end plate damage. He's still on the back of Spike going towards the final couple of corners there, but Toxic is on the back of Dill Warren through in towards the village at turn 3. Or into village at turn 3, not into the village at turn 3. Loop at turn 4, and then entry at turn 5. Toxic still on the back of Dill Warren. But I have a feeling both of these are in the same party together, which is why we're seeing this battle as close as it is. I don't think if they were in the same party, they would be battling like this. And just proving that.
Well, Dylan Warren there went defensive, and Toxic there just didn't quite steer enough. Of course, it is the car behind's responsibility to make sure that if they do move across, it's got to be clean as you like there. Meanwhile, Spike and Calsper come into blows. Meanwhile, Toxic there flies past Warren in towards Stowe Corner. And I think Warren's actually probably seen the DRS going down towards Stowe as an opportunity. And I think he has, you know. I think that's a really smart move. The only problem is it's costing him time to try and close in on Thomas. But here we go then, down the Hanger Straight with the DRS wide open, looking for a move then. Toxic goes defensive. Where will Dylan Warren go? He'll go to the right-hand side, up the inside at Stowe Corner, making his way up the inside and gets that position back. Now, if that was choreographed by Warren there, that deserves just a praise in itself. Backing off into Cop's Corner so that he can have the run down towards Stowe. Perfect planning.
Great tactical move there by Dill to get the DRS. He is pulling away down the straight as well. Toxic saving up the ERS down the straight. Calsper still sticking with Spike, but what is very interesting, I think, Thomas a second off Recon for third position out on track. 3 laps to go. Recon couldn't necessarily make a mistake out on track. Thomas, I think, will be on the back of him in no time. Don't discount the ILR team man's pace.
Well, absolutely. He's a race winner at round 1 and, of course, didn't turn up to the race at round 2. Meanwhile, then, Toxic and Warren going side by side as we make our way in towards Luffield here. Warren will have the better traction on the exit, but Toxic has less distance to cover heading towards Cop's Corner. As the Red Bull's on the inside, Mercedes on the outside here. Toxic just about gets that line and Warren can't find that way through, but he's got that DRS zone down towards Stowe Corner.
Yeah, Thomas has got the DRS on Recon as well. 7.5 tenths just coming out of the Hanger Straight, and now Thomas beginning to set his sights on a possible podium. I don't think he would have been imagining that on the end of lap 1, but Toxic and Dill Warren still battling, and Dill weaving down the straight. Goodness me, the speed of him. The Mercedes man down the inside, he gets the move done, but Toxic is going to have to run back at him. These two, I'm not sure if they're wanting airtime. It's like Manor and Caterham back in the old days, but Dill Warren and Toxic doing a good job and having a good battle, and Calsper still sticking with Spike.
Yeah, absolutely. Calsper still on the back there. Meanwhile, Thomas is wanting this podium position with 2 laps to go. Meanwhile, it is Rafa who still leads the way at the top of the standings here. Ashbest is in second with Recon in third. It might be worth checking the penalties, actually. But Thomas here, you see him trying to go to the right-hand side. Recon goes defensive, then moves back to the racing line. You are allowed to do that. That is in the rules. You can make 1 defensive move and 1 move back to the racing line. Thomas here, he saw that door open, but he was already understeering. He couldn't quite take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Dylan Warren and Toxic still going side by side as they make their way through. And Rafa's picked up a 3-second time penalty here. That could be costly towards the end of this race. Toxic, meanwhile, has got a great run out of Woodcote here. And on now towards Cop's Corner. Has to go around the outside as we head through. And Warren just about held the inside there and held on for dear life. He's still holding on to that position, but Toxic might be under a bit of pressure as we head down the Hanger Straight. Meanwhile, then Thomas right on the back of Recon, then with that DRS wide open, moves to the right-hand side. Thomas trying to go up the inside here. A little bit of desync, and Thomas somehow holds it together. He's lost a big amount of time, but at least it was only a half spin, not a full spin.
Yeah, only a half spin, and to be honest, that desync very costly to them because I've just checked the penalties. Rafa has got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit and a 3-second. Ash has got nothing. Ash is going to be your race win on the final lap, I think.
Well, as long as he holds it all together, anything can happen in these final laps. Recon locking up then in towards turn 3 and then going through the loop in towards turn 4. Toxic, meanwhile, still trying to battle away with Warren here onto the final lap of this race. And we'll have to see what happens here between the two of them. It's going to go right to the line, this one. Toxic's got the DRS run on towards the left-hander of Brooklands. He'll go to the left-hand side and try and take the position now. And I wonder if he should have waited down towards Stowe. Navy picking up a 3-second time penalty. Wonder if he should have waited till the DRS straight down at Stowe corner. That might have been a better opportunity. Meanwhile then, we're going to stay with Rafa then as he makes his way and winds his way through these last couple of corners now. He's got 8 seconds worth of penalties here. Ash Best is only 4 seconds behind. There you can see him in the distance. But Rafa, at least on track, has done everything he possibly could. Unfortunately, a couple of times he exceeded the track limits and then sped into the pit lane. What a day it could have been for Rafa as he makes his way around the final couple of corners and onwards to the checkered flag. He takes the win out on track, but Ash Best here coming around the final corner will take the checkered flag and the win at the British Grand Prix. He takes his first race win of the season. Recon across the line in third with Thomas in fourth. Toxic just about holds on and proves me wrong by going into, well, it was up the order into 5th place, but Dylan Warren didn't have any penalties, or at least fewer penalties, to finish ahead of Toxic. Spike coming across the line in 7th, Calsper jumping him on penalties. Cass coming across the line, he will finish in 9th place, and that is Ferrari's first points of the season. They've waited a long time for that one. Lighty in 10th place there to grab the final point of the race, and Navy coming across the line in 11th place. But your race winner, oh, we've still got the Gort running out there in 12th place. I thought he'd already taken the checkered flag. He hasn't. He's still on the lead lap. And to be honest with you, I think he's trying to go for the fastest lap. It won't give him the point, but it will take a point away from somebody else if he can get this onto a tee. It would actually take that point away from Toxic. So he's got a 28.692 to beat. I wonder if it's on the cards as we make our way onwards towards Stowe Corner. And I'm getting a no from James here.
5/10 down on his personal best, which is a 29.6.
Well, so it won't be that perfect lap he's hoping for. He won't take that point away from Toxic. But your race winner then for the British Grand Prix. The streak is broken after 3 races. Pole sitter does not win the race. It was Ash Best instead who takes his first race win of the season here at Silverstone. And your top 3 out onto the podium here for the British Grand Prix. And it was Ash Best who took his first race win of the season. And he'll enjoy that one, that's for sure. And your race winner then for the British Grand Prix, Ash Best.
Phenomenal win for Ash out on track. Of course, getting it on penalties, I don't think he'll matter about that, though, because he drove quite sensationally. Rafa, the 100% record for pole position and the race win has ended. But, my God, that was a good race.
That was a pretty good race, wasn't it? As you say, James, it always delivers. And here we go then to the official, unofficial results. Ash Best takes the win here at the British Grand Prix with Rafa in second. Recon getting a podium there to wrap up the top 3. Thomas fighting his way all the way through the field to finish in 4th place. A great drive from him with Dill Warren in 5th place. Toxic in 6th. Calsper in 7th and Spike in 8th. Cass in 9th and Lighty rounds out the top 10. Navy and the Gort finishing outside of the top 10. Non-finishers Chapalele, Sean, Carlsbury and Traw wrap it up there for the British Grand Prix. But I'm going to put you on the spot this time around, Mr. Ed. If you had to pick a driver of the day, which we don't get to decide, the drivers do, who would your money be on, I should say?
Purely for the recovery that he had, ILRT Thomas. I think he had a tremendous race. From spinning on lap 1 and being near the back of the field with Calsper, both him and Calsper drove up the field, 4th and 7th respectively. But Thomas, I think, just showed that extra pace, and looking at the fastest laps, you can tell how consistent they were. 29.1 for Recon, 29.2 for Thomas, 29.4 for Ash and Rafa as well. But Thomas, I think, drove exceptionally well. In difficult circumstances on lap 1, I've seen many a driver quit on lap 1, but he didn't. He kept his focus, he kept his calm, and that's why he gets my driver of the day.
Absolutely, and that will bring us then to the end of the stream tonight. So, well, all we have to say is thank you very much for watching for what was a fantastic British Grand Prix, and for Ash Best, even better so, his first TTL win this season, and I think of his career as well, and only his third race, so pretty impressive from him. And what a day it could have been for Rafa, but for those 8 seconds worth of penalties. He still picks up second place, but he will know that was a win taken away from him with those penalties. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed all the replays and the graphics you've seen on the screen as well. Big thank you to Honey Badger, who's behind the scenes running all of that and having to put up with all us nattering away the whole time. I mean, ever since we introduced the practice session, it's about 2-3 hours now, so fair play to him. He does well. But anyway, thank you also very much for watching. Make sure you do subscribe down towards the channel below. I did also see that we hit 420 subscribers. Nice.
Fantastic.
Nice.
I think we hit that last night, actually, for Mini League.
Oh, well, even better so. 420 subscribers is nice. It's a nice number, but let's get it even higher. Subscribe down below.
450 the next target.
And make sure you subscribe or follow the league on Twitter, I should say, at TTL_F1. You can follow myself and James Head on the social medias, which hopefully should be on your screen right about now. You can follow us there if you want to. I mean, I would spell mine out, but it's impossible to say, and we'd be here for about 2 hours, so I'm glad it's written out there. But anyway, thank you very much for watching tonight's stream. Next time around, we'll be doing it all again, and James, I'm looking forward to it already.
I'm looking forward to it. I think next week is going to be a terrific race, and of course we do take in, if I get the calendar up, are we in...
It's Germany, yeah. I thought it
Germany.
was. I had to check that one, because I was like, I'm going to introduce the next race, but I can't quite place where it is. It's Germany. So we head to the Hockenheimring for the race there. But thank you very much for watching, and until Germany, thank you very much. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.